When choosing a new car, there's two different engines, petrol or diesel. There are different myths, aren't there, and different things, Rob. What kind of things do people come up with, and what are the myths?
I think generally you'll find that diesels will generally do better mile per gallon, but they can be a little bit dearer to repair as opposed to your petrol, which will be a little bit dearer to run but will be cheaper to repair. Generally it's all about your personal circumstances to which one suits you better.
Okay, so if I was to come in and say I wanted to drive 20,000 miles up and down a motorway, diesel would probably be better.
Diesel would be fantastic, you'd save a lot of money on fuel.
But there's quite efficient petrol engines out there as well, isn't there?
There is. Peugeot, for example, have got the 108, which can almost do 60 mile per gallon. So I mean, if you're generally driving around town all your life, then perhaps that is actually better for your personal circumstances.
And what about characteristics of engines? Some people like the feel of a diesel, don't they, as opposed to a petrol?
That's right, yeah.
What does that mean, characteristics of an engine?
Well, you'll generally find the characteristics of a diesel in comparison to a petrol. You'll have a lot more low-down torque in the rev range, whereas your petrols will generally pick up towards the top end of the rev range.
Okay, so you'd be changing gear less in a diesel?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
So Rob, there's a funny myth, isn't there, about running out of fuel in a diesel compared to a petrol? What are the differences?
A lot of diesels nowadays, they don't have lift pumps in the engine and then fuel tanks, so if you were to run out of diesel, then there is nowhere to start your actual car. You'd be stranded at the side of the road. Okay, so is that extra cost then? Obviously you'd have to pay for a recovery truck and you'd have to get it into your local garage.
Right, okay. All right, moving on to weather then. Does cold weather implicate a petrol more than a diesel, or the other way around?
I would probably say diesel more than anything. Diesels generally run a little bit cooler, so in a cold climate your engine will take a lot longer to warm up, and if the roads are wet or icy, then because there's a lot more low down torque, there's a likelihood the car will skid.
Okay, right, so that's something to look at as well. What about servicing on a diesel compared to a petrol?
I think you'll find when you're servicing a diesel, the parts are a lot dearer to start with, so when you compare the two, a petrol is a lot cheaper.
Okay, Rob, so that sounds like swings and roundabouts to me.
That's right, you'll find there's pros and cons to each, and you'll find that you really need to match it up to your personal circumstances.
Okay, and is that something that Perry's can do?
If you call down, our sales executives will be happy to help.
Perfect, I might do that. Well, thank you for all that information.
All right.
Spot on.
Thanks.